for a little bit more unusual but highly profitable bolos to be on the lookout for, then this video is for you. I'm gonna show you exactly what's selling right now that a lot of other resellers are missing out on. If you're new here, then welcome to the channel. My name is Lee Meyer. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4, and I've made well over $100,000 flipping used clothes and other items on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And now I'm on a mission to help at least 1,000 resellers be able to hit that $100,000 mark for themselves. And to help you out, I've got a ton of free goodies for you. You'll find them down here in the description below this video. This includes things like my best brands list, the list of 150 brands that has led me to that $100,000 mark and beyond. You'll also find a link to sign up for my free $100,000 reseller challenge. In this free challenge, I show you exactly how to reach $100,000 for yourself this year and how to do it in part-time hours, very minimal time. And in that free challenge, you're also going to discover the very best things to be selling right now in today's market. Now, I'm super fired up for today's video because I'm gonna be sharing with you some brands that are a little less known but highly profitable. I'm also going to be sharing some style-based bolos and some very profitable keywords. So let's get started. All right, this first one that I have for you is a little bit more of an obscure brand, but there are some items that are selling for quite a lot of money. And a lot of these are just button ups like what you're seeing here. It's a brand that is called Resell, but it'll be abbreviated. So I'll show you here on the tag, RSVLTS is what it will say. And then it's also a collaboration, a brand that does collaborations with other franchises such as Disney or Pixar. This specific shirt that you're looking at is actually from the movie Soul. You can kind of make out the people there and then those piano keys. And that shirt sold for $129. By the way, this keyword right here, Kunuflex, that is the type of material that they use for their shirts. And a lot of buyers are actually searching for that. So you will see that in the titles of several of these items. And then this is another one. This is a very unusual print. This is actually Saved by the Bell. And the more unusual these are, the more money it's going to go for. So this one actually sold for $650. Now this one is actually a Willie Nelson special. This one sold for $250 on Poshmark. But with this brand, you're definitely going to want to make sure to look up those comps like always, like I always recommend, because different styles are going to be selling for more money than others. They definitely have some limited editions, some items that are more rare, and those, of course, that is going to drive up the price. Now, this is an interesting one because I was doing some research into Hermione from Harry Potter, and a lot of the jackets that she wore during those movies that ran like 2001 to 2011, a lot of those items are trending and similar items like that. So this is an example of a jacket that is from H&M. You can see it's asymmetrical, so the buttons are off to the side. This one actually sold for $240 on Poshmark, and there's several of these that are selling, well over that $100, $200 range for this jacket. This is another example, and this one is actually a alternative. So this isn't even the exact brand that she wore, but this is from Topshop. This one sold for $120. So keep that in mind when you're sourcing. You can see that this is just pretty much a basic jean jacket, not a whole lot going on for it, but definitely a look from that kind of early to mid 2000s. And a lot of those styles are trending right now. So $120 for that on Poshmark. Pretty good. This is another example of a jacket that is very similar to what she wore in one of the movies. And this one's actually a different color. It's a different brand, but the style is very, very similar. That's what that jacket looks like there. And then that one sold for $55. Now with a lot of these, I'm going to go ahead back to this for a second. With a lot of these, the sellers will actually not let you know what the brand is. There's not even pictures of the brand tag, because with these, it's definitely all about the keywords, those pop culture keywords, whatever movie, TV show, celebrity that happened to be seen on, or a similar style was seen on. This is another one of the jackets. I love this one because I had probably a few of these back in the day, back in college. Corduroy, it's got, those pockets there on the front, a couple of buttons. And then this one's sold on eBay. This is actually Great Britain, so I'm not sure the conversion here, but probably, over that $100 mark. And then this is another, big pop culture keyword right now, and that is Bella Swan, again, from that same kind of era, Y2K. You're going to see there that they use that keyword in that title. And this is another alternate. So if you see the letters ALT, that just means an alternate version of what was seen. So it's not even the exact item. It just has that same look. The color may be different. The brand may be different. I also want to point out that this is an extra small, because you'll hear a lot of resellers say to steer clear of extra smalls, that they don't sell. And I do agree with that to a certain extent. There's going to be times when extra smalls sell, when smalls sell. And this is a really good example of an extra small that sold for $75 on Poshmark. Now, I do have a brand new pop culture keyword guide that dives deep into different items to be able to look for that were seen in movies, even styles that were inspired by TV shows, celebrities. I have gone deep in this, loaded this up with the best information out there for what is selling right now. So I will leave a product card for that here. I also go much deeper than some of my other keyword guides. If you have those, I actually do cover some brands. We're going to be talking about a couple of them in this video. One of them was that Roosevelt's brand, and I have another one coming up too. So this is much more than just keywords. You're going to get so much inside of this guide. I also wanted to point out some free people items that are selling really well. And these have to do with the cuff of the sleeve on thermal shirts. Now, I want to caveat this by saying that Free People, it's not one of those brands that I just see and go, okay, this is awesome. I found this, like, this is my day. This made my day. But there are definitely certain items that are going to sell for substantially more. There's plenty of items that are only going to sell for $5, maybe $10 that are definitely not worth your time. And with these items that I'm going to show you here in a second, all of these have special features on the sleeve of the item. So this one happens to have a lace-up sleeve, and that one sold for $160. This is another one where there's tons of these selling. All of these that I'm going to be sharing with you, it's not just one item that sold that is like this, but there's several, listings that are selling. So these aren't just outliers, but there's several of these that are selling for that $150, $100 plus dollar price point. With this one, it actually has a zipper cuff. You can see that there on the sleeve. There's the stock photo, and that one sold for $148. This is another one with an interesting cuff that is knit. That one sold for $100, and that is in used condition. Everything that I'm going to be showing you in this video is in used condition. This is another type of sleeve. This one sold for $78, where it's that knit bell sleeve. You can see how it flares out there at the hand. $78 for that. Now, this next one is actually a pink Victoria's Secret item, and this is a brand that's gotten way over flooded in the market, in the resale market, and at the same time, the quality of their items over the past few years has really tanked. And so there's a lot of items out there that are not worth selling, but there still are items to be on the lookout for, and especially older items where that quality was a little bit better from that Y2K 2000s, maybe even pushing 2010. Those items are definitely selling better than, say, current items. But the other thing to be on the lookout for are unique items. So this is an example of what I would consider a unique item for Victoria's Secret. You can see that this is a onesie with a skeleton on it for, Halloween. It's got that pocket or that opening there on the back. That one sold for $99. So there's plenty of examples like this of items selling from this brand for really good money. This is another example. This is, a onesie, one-piece thermal pajama set. And this one was $90. That's it sold for $90 on Poshmark. I did want to point out here on this Halloween Bones one that this was actually a size small, so it wasn't even, a bigger size. Now, this next one is a brand that's a little bit more obscure, but this one is selling for quite a lot. And it's called Wear Cisco. I'm going to zoom in and you can see that there on the tag. It says Wear Cisco and then size, and they'll usually do a slash size. So they'll say medium / large. They're very helpful by putting the style name. So in this case, it says crop, and then it'll say made in LA. Now, some that I've seen, these letters are actually falling off. So if you happen to come across a tag like this and only half of the letters are there, that is from this brand, and you can hopefully try to still make out what the size is, what that style name is. And they're best known for their button-up shirts, and in particular shirts that wrap. So this one actually sold for $80 on eBay, but there's others that are selling for a little bit more money, and especially over on Poshmark, this brand seems to be selling for a little bit more money. So this is another Wear Cisco shirt. Now with this brand, you're going to see Wear Cissa in a lot of the titles. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but this is basically their website is Cissa, and it says, "He is Cisco, I am Lisa." I'm not sure if the brand used to be called Cisco. We are Cissa together. I'm assuming he is referring to the dog down there. So make sure that you have both Cissa as well as Cisco in the title, because buyers are shopping for both. You're going to see listings that do have both. And this is another example of an item that sold on Poshmark from this brand that sold for $80. And this is actually a men's style. So you'll see that here on the tag. It says the brand name and then the style is men's, but that is still a women's item. Now, some of the keywords that you might want to consider using with this brand are things like capsule, basic, career. And if you need help with those style-based keywords, that is really where the magic happens with getting your items sold. And I do have a poster that makes this super simple. You can have these printed up at your listing station and be able to write titles, descriptions in a matter of a few seconds. I will link to that product over here. Now, this next is a brand that is called Cakeworthy. This is another brand that does collaborations. And so what you're looking at is actually a collaboration with the Barbie franchise. So you'll see here on the tag, it says Barbie and then cross Cakeworthy. That just means that it is a collaboration. This is what you might also see, some sort of font like that. There's several different variations on those tags. This one says Barbie on the background, limited edition, colors and decorations may vary. And then that one sold for $89, but there's lots of different styles of these selling, and this brand seems to be doing especially well on Poshmark. This is an example of a Ursula from Ariel, that shirt selling for $150. That one is an extra large. This is another sale from Poshmark, and this is from the show Merida, the Disney show. That is what that tag looks like there. So you can see that that is a little bit different than the other one. And then that one sold for $130. You can see it says change your fate on the back. And again, all of these are in pre-owned condition. This is another example that is from Beauty and the Beast. A tale as old as time is what it says there on the back. This one actually does say Disney, and then Cakeworthy as well there on the tag. That one sold for $125. Now, this next one is a little bit more of an obscure brand that makes shoes, and they do make their items out of recycled fiber. These are made from wool and they are water resistant. And so let me go ahead and show you what that sold for. Those pair of boots sold for $99. They definitely have a little bit unique style going on there with the heel, but you will see water repellent or water resistant in the title and the description. Make sure you use that because buyers are looking for those features. This is another example of a very common shoe that they make, and many of these are actually over the knee height. They're very tall. Now, on most of the items, you're going to see a V stitched into the material on the exterior of the item. This one sold for $85 on eBay. Got a few sales here on Poshmark that are well over that $100 mark. This pair of heels sold for $175, again in used condition. Here's another one of those boots that's over the knee or knee high. That one sold for $130. And then another tall pair of boots like that sold for $128. So a really good brand if you come across this. This next one is another one of those pop culture collaboration brands where they've collaborated with a lot of different franchises out there. This is an example from Garfield. So you can see Garfield, his face on the back pocket there, as well as on the front of the pants. And these are a pretty wild pair of corduroy pants, checkered. Those sold for almost $70, and they are an extra small. And this is from a brand that is called Dumbgood. I'll show you a little bit better tag here in a second. This is another one of their items. It would definitely fall, at least in my opinion, under the ugly category. And so this is what that looks like. It's fruity pebbles, you know, all kinds of different colors on this thing. And then there is that Dumbgood tag. It's pretty kind of a basic looking tag there. And that jacket or hoodie sold for $55. Here's a Goosebumps puffer coat from this same brand that sold for $135, but there's lots of interesting items. This is over on Poshmark, a collaboration with Sanrio and the Dumbgood brand. That one sold for $85. A Seinfeld puffer jacket, definitely a unique item with any of these. What you're really looking for is that unique and rare. This one sold for $125. How do you know if it's unique or rare? Look up comps, see what's listed, see what is selling. This is another Dumbgood item that has cats all over it. It's a fleece jacket, and then that one sold for $150. This next is what I would call a wearable art brand, and this is by a designer called Arlene Wool. I'll go ahead and zoom in on that for you there. But these are all hand woven sweaters. That is what this one looks like. This is on eBay. That one sold for $175. And there's tons of these selling on Poshmark as well. I'm going to show you that here in a second, what I mean by that. Here's what this tag looks like. This one sold for $132. You can see it's an ombre vest there. This button-up cardigan sold for $150. Some interesting buttons there. It's a good reminder to show those details in your pictures. Another cardigan, this one sold for $225. And then I want to show a quick comparison between eBay and Poshmark, and you're looking at solds here. And so I did a search for this brand, Arlene Wool, and actually came back with only 3 sold items. And then I did the same for Poshmark, pulled up sold items, and I'm scrolling. There's tons of them here from this brand. Some additional related items, it's pulling up even more. And there's a little bit of an inconsistency when you're comparing the sold items between the different platforms. And one of those is that eBay actually only shows more recent history. And so that's why there's usually going to be less on eBay. It's not that they sell less. And on Poshmark, Poshmark tends to keep their listings on their sold listings for years after they sell. I'm going to be covering a video where I'm going to be going through the differences more, and this is going to be really helpful, especially if you're a Poshmark seller. So make sure you subscribe if you're not yet subscribed so you don't miss out when that video comes out. And I also want to take a second to invite you to the Empowered Reseller membership. This is where I'm able to give personal help, answer questions, be able to even review your listings. Plus, it comes with the support of a community, that accountability that you need to have success with reselling, as well as a huge course vault to help you succeed and help you take your reselling business to the next level. You will find the link to be able to join the membership in the description below this video. Now, Arlene Wool is just one of those wearable art brands, but there are tons of others out there like this. So this is a really unique jacket. It's got a lot of different colors going on here. This is what the tag looks like, hand woven by Crispina French with 2 Fs. And then it does have a date on there. And so that's really cool. That one sold for actually $553 on eBay. This is another example of a wearable art. It says Amano there on the tag. I'm assuming that's referring to it being made by hand. That's what that looks like with sunflowers on it, that cardigan. This is another example of a wearable art item. There's the front and the back. And with this one, it's definitely a unique item. This is by Susan Clark. There's the tag there. And this one is a small. That one sold for $389. And this is by a brand that's called Robert Graham. Most of the designs are not this wild, but this one definitely falls into that wearable art category. This is what it will look like at the back of the neck. It will be embroidered onto the item. And this was a 2XL, so that does also help drive up the price as well as it being wearable art. That one sold for $300. Got another example here for you of wearable art. It looks like a complete outfit. That one sold for $275. Another one here where it's actually a cross stitch. So you can get a pretty good idea of what I mean when I say cross stitch needlework. And this jacket sold for $235. Another example of that wearable art. Here's what the tag looks like for this one. $295 for that. Some more wearable art. This is Joseph Tricot. I am not quite sure how to say that last name, and I'm just guessing on that one. That one sold for $280 with those hearts. Another one of this designer sweaters sold for $275. It's got instruments down here on the bottom that would have been really good to actually call out here. They may be in the description, but I'm seeing a trumpet, a drum. Those would have been really good keywords to use. $275 for that one. Coogi. This is one that is actually a women's. A lot of the items that are selling are men's. So I wanted to show this one as well as one that I would definitely put in that wearable art category. That one sold for $275. Now, what you're probably noticing with a few of those that I showed you is that they are vintage items. And that is one of the most lucrative categories to be selling in as a clothing reseller. And I do have a newly updated vintage clothing guide that dives into 150 different brands and vintage items to be on the lookout for. So I will link to that over here. Now, the next type of item to be on the lookout for that's maybe a little bit more unusual is anything that is retro, and especially when it comes to Y2K era pop culture. So this is a Shakira t-shirt. That's what the tag looks like there. It looks like it was actually cut out. So all that's left is the material and the washing instructions. This one had 28 bids on it and went for $152. This is another good example from that era of a t-shirt with that screen printed on it. It's not even anything fancy. Here is what the tag looks like on this one. All sport events, 100% cotton. You know, not any big name for a brand. Does not even look really official. That one sold for almost $200, a penny shy of $200. Now, this next one is a lesser known brand that's called Simply Natural, and they do make items out of alpaca. This is what the tag looks like here at the neck. There's a couple of different variations on their tag, but that is a pretty common look for that tag. This is a men's item that sold for $100 and almost $10 on eBay. Here's an example of a women's item, and that one's embroidered. That one sold for $58. On Poshmark, this brand seems to be selling for a little bit more. This is another example of a little bit different style of the tag, but you can see the alpaca there on that. It's a good reminder whether it's Simply Natural or another brand that is made of alpaca, that can be a really profitable thing to sell. This one sold for $159. It's kind of a cape jacket style. Here's another one of their tags where it's more embroidered into that. That one sold for $125. And then a sweater here, cardigan, that one sold for $85. Thanks so much for hanging out with me in today's video. If you found it helpful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as well as consider subscribing to the channel. I've got tons more amazing content headed your way. And if you haven't yet signed up for that free $100,000 reseller challenge, you're going to want to make sure to do that now. Again, the link for that free challenge, along with a whole lot of other goodies, is down here in the description below this video. And if you have not yet watched my video on weird and ugly clothing items to sell, I will leave a link for that next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video soon.